You felt the feelings plenty of times. Still you fall away at the mention of mine. All of your reasons and all of your crimes never take away what you're trying to hide.
To the side of me is the BMW M550i xDrive. The top of the line BMW 5 Series saved the M5. Now, it's a strange world we live in today with partial M's and half AMGs like the M240i and C43 AMG. But does that mean the M550i isn't actually any good? Well, today we are going to find out just that. The current generation BMW 5 Series ranges from the base model 530i with its 4-cylinder 230 horsepower engine all the way up to the M5. Now, in between that, we have a range of diesel as well as hybrid models, as well as the M550i, which we have here today. Now, Dinan has had its way with this specific car, making it a heck of a lot more exciting. But before we get into all of the changes that they've made and improvements, let's talk about the M550i in its stock form. Under the hood lies a 4.4-liter twin-turbocharged V8, a unit very similar to the one that is in the new BMW M5. Now, before any modifications, this pumped out a healthy 456 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, mated to a brilliant ZF 8-speed automatic transmission, as well as its all-wheel drive layout, means BMW says this can do 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. In BMW's own words, that makes this car faster than the previous generation F10 M5. And despite the fact this is all-wheel drive, it weighs 100 pounds less than the rear-wheel drive F10 M5 as well. Now, this is not a stock BMW M550i. The Dynantronic Stage 1 tune, as well as some other performance upgrades that we'll talk about in a minute, boost power significantly from 456 horsepower to 606 horsepower and 635 pound-feet of torque. For reference, the new M5, the top of the line M5, makes 600 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. 635 pound-feet of torque. That is ridiculous. Now, the tune, the exhaust, and the mid-pipe upgrades will set you back $5,650. But for 606 horsepower, I'd say there's no question it's worth it. Now, looking at the front and side of the M550i, there's a couple ways to differentiate it from a standard plebeian 5 Series. For one, we have a much larger gaping front grille for more air. Now, typically, right here on the side, there is a very small M badge to let people know that this isn't an ordinary 5 Series. Instead, though, because Dinan has had its way with this car, we've got an S1 badge for Dinan Stage 1. More on the Dinan side, we've got Forgeline 20-inch AR1 wheels wrapped in 265mm Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's in the front and 295mm Pilot Sport 4S's in the rear for extra grip. Let's go around to the back. Now, in stock form, the M550i gets a rectangular-shaped quad exhaust, as well as a tiny rear deck lid spoiler. Now, Dinan has changed that. We've got a larger carbon fiber rear spoiler, as well as a massive 4-inch in diameter double-walled, free-flowing stainless steel exhaust system that I think looks really nice juxtaposed against the dark blue color. The really cool thing about this exhaust is the actual tips themselves are clamped onto the exhaust as opposed to being welded. This way, if you don't like the look of these black exhaust tips, which I don't know why you wouldn't like the look of these black exhaust tips, you can remove them and change it up for something different. We also have a Dinan high-flowing mid-pipe, which we'll listen to in a bit. Actually, no, we're gonna listen to it right now. Let's go ahead and fire this up and see what it sounds like. The interior of the M550i is nice, but not awe-inspiring. On the dash and seats and pretty much everywhere you can touch, it's covered in black Dakota leather. But honestly, I would suggest upgrading that, spending $1,000 more to get black Napa leather. One, it's nicer quality, and two, it gives you this lovely contrasted diamond stitch pattern on the seats that makes it look a lot more upscale. We've got 6 different trims to choose from. This one is piano black, but honestly, I think this car has too much black in one place. On the screen here, we have BMW's Idrive 6, their take on an intuitive infotainment system. We've got clean, easy-to-read graphics, although not quite as impressive as the graphics in the Mercedes counterpart, but all of it is easily controlled via this circular selector to the right of the gear shift, as well as a series of buttons above and below it. Honestly, I haven't spent a whole lot of time using Idrive 6, yet I was able to figure it out almost instantly. Everything is laid out in a very intuitive way. BMW also tries to make your life easier by integrating gesture controls. What the heck is gesture controls? Well, if you're listening to the music, a simple rotation... Well, as you can see, a simple gesture clockwise turns the music up and counterclockwise turns it back down. It's also got intelligent voice control that can understand full sentences and help you out. Hey BMW, what do you think of the Vehicle Virgins YouTube channel? Awkward. There's also a wireless charging area right here for compatible smartphones. This is actually an extremely useful feature, as oftentimes you lose your cable or you remove the cable from the car when you lost your cable by your bed and you need it in the house and all of a sudden you can't charge your phone. Keeps your phone charged at all times, super easy to use. The car also has a Wi-Fi hotspot, and the nice part is BMW gives you 3 months for free and 3 gigabytes of data transfer. Mercedes doesn't give you anything for free. Let's hop in the back. In the back, we have an ample amount of legroom as well as headroom. Honestly, the current generation G35 series feels more like a 7 Series in the back than it does a 5 Series. Opt for the cold weather package and you get a heated front seat, heated steering wheel, and heated rear seats as well. For $2,200, you can get a premium rear seat entertainment system that gives you a nice screen so you can watch movies as well as control the iDrive system. But enough stationary talk about the M550i. I say we start it up and rip it around. The M550i has to fulfill 2 roles at the same time: be a comfortable, luxurious commuter and simultaneously be an engaging, fun-to-drive sports sedan. Now, all of the aforementioned amenities and features that I just discussed cover the luxury side, but what about performance? So, with the M550i, there is an optional dynamic handling package. If you get that, it gives active anti-roll bars to limit body roll in the corners, as well as rear wheel steering. I remember when rear wheel steering was only a feature available to $250,000 plus supercars, and now we've got it in 5 Series sedans. Pretty cool. So at low speeds, the rear wheels turn in the opposite direction of the front wheels, effectively shortening the wheelbase, making it more nimble around corners at low speed, and also making it easier to park in tight situations. And then at high speeds, the rear wheels turn in the same direction as the fronts, effectively enhancing the wheelbase and making it more stable at high speeds. And honestly, for a 4,372-pound luxury sedan, this thing corners pretty darn well. Now, part of that is due to Dinan's magic once again. We have Dinan springs that not only lower the car by 3/4 of an inch, giving it a more menacing, aggressive stance, but it also increases spring stiffness by 15% in the front and rear to reduce body roll and enhance the engaging driving experience. Along with the upgrades comes a warranty, and this is pretty important. You get the same length and miles as your new car warranty from BMW. 50,000 miles or 4 years. That's right, a 606 horsepower sedan that's covered by a warranty. That is pretty awesome for peace of mind. Now, the M550i has various driving modes for the suspension, steering, and engine response. We'll briefly talk about comfort mode because that is obviously the most boring, but the different modes can be selected via buttons just to the left of the shift column. We'll click comfort right there. The steering loosens up, the suspension relaxes, the engine gets quieter, And, well, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Now we're going to put it into Sport Plus mode with 2 clicks of the Sport button. Then we're going to turn traction control slightly off to have a bit more fun. And it really, really awakens the beast. Oh my God, this car is fast. Wow, 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 that is a brutal acceleration. This car has the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, a legendary transmission that's fitted in cars ranging from an Aston Martin Vanquish S to a Bentley Bentayga to the BMW M550i. And the responsiveness is so intuitive, so razor sharp, that it leaves you wondering, why would you need a double clutch gearbox? And the answer is, you don't. And then when you're driving, just cruising along, commuting, you don't feel the shifts whatsoever. They just happen in the background and increase efficiency. But you put it in Sport Plus, the downshifts are instant, the upshifts thrust you forward with this little punch in the back between shifts. Made it to these nice steering wheel mounted paddles that have a decent actuation to them. I wish they were a little bit more solid feeling, maybe more metallic-y, but definitely good enough. And it sounds good too. We've got Dinan stainless exhaust as well as the high flow mid pipe from Dinan as well. Brings the weight down slightly, allows for a more aggressive, punchy exhaust note. But as with most Dinan products, it's this classy mix of increased sound and aggression without being overkill. If you're looking for an exhaust that's absolutely going to scream, that penetrates in the cabin, that's going to be very exciting for a 10-minute drive with passengers sitting in the car trying to impress your friends, then the Dinan exhaust isn't for you. If you want something that is 100% livable on a daily basis, that has research and development done to reduce drone in the cabin, that's a little bit louder and better sounding than stock, essentially Dinan's just trying to improve the car in a way that they believe BMW should have built it in the first place. And they've essentially created a pseudo M5 for less money. The car does sound pretty good under load, and when you're just cruising around, you don't notice that this thing has 606 horsepower. You've got fantastic visibility out of the front windshield as well as the sides. Looking over your shoulder, good visibility as well. And with the rear, driving this thing is super easy. And with most BMWs, confidence inspiring, especially with that increased stiffness in the suspension and that increase in power due to the tune and the exhaust. It really is a fun car to drive. It's pretty staggering for something this heavy and this relaxing when in the right modes to really be something engaging to drive in the back roads. I mean, this is not an environment where a 5 Series sedan should be shining, and it really is. Now with the electronic steering, there isn't all that much feedback. In fact, it kind of feels deadened more so than I'm used to from BMW. That does make it more comfortable to drive on a daily basis. But in terms of communication between the road, the tires, the steering column, the steering wheel, your hands, and then your brain, it feels like it's lacking a little bit of that. That being said, with the dynamic steering and the adaptive all-wheel drive system that varies the torque split between the front and rear, it feels a lot more like a rear-wheel drive car than it does an all-wheel drive one. Turn-in is really quick. It's got a really quick steering rack. Brakes are good too. Really from the surface, kind of the only differentiating factor when driving this aggressively from something like a BMW M5, what I feel like this car is missing is more aggressive seats. Now this is the M550i, so it doesn't really need it, but these seats are comfortable. However, they don't offer all that much support when you're throwing it through the turns. You really got to crank the seatbelt tight and hold on for dear life because, yeah, my body just floats to the side there. Here's the deal though. The M550i came out before the M5 even existed. Now, of course, M5s are starting to hit the showrooms. The base price of this car, $73,900, and you add on the host of Dinan upgrades purely performance-based, just a tad over $5,000 for that, for the exhaust, the mid-pipe, as well as the tune, and you are getting M5 levels of power, in fact, significantly more torque than an M5, for under $80,000. That is an impressive package in a German luxury sedan. There really is only one thing left to do with this bad boy, and that is do a 0 to 60 test. All-wheel drive, 4,300 pounds, and 606 horsepower seems like a recipe for a quick 0 to 60 time. So we're gonna pull over, get the V-Box out, and see what this thing can put down. Leave your guesses in the comments section below. Honestly, BMW claims 3.9 seconds to 60 for a stock M550i. I think it's gonna be faster than that. BMW does give this ZF 8-speed equipped M550i a pseudo launch control. You can put your foot firmly on the brake with your left foot and your right foot firmly on the gas all the way down. It revs to 3,000 RPMs, launches the car forward, and in theory should do 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Let's try that out. We are in Sport Plus. Let's put traction into dynamic mode. Let's see what happens. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the gas. Wow. That thing is quick. 0 to 60, 3.7 seconds. I say we run that back because I'm not positive that fully engaged launch control, but 3.7 seconds. Before we do run number 2, I do have to say, this is a really comfortable car. It's fun to drive in the canyons. That's not really what it's meant for. I just wanted to show you how capable a vehicle like this can be on fun roads. I mean, I think you viewers are more interested in the performance elements of vehicles like this than you are the comfort, but it is quite isolated from the exterior environment, almost too much so if you're really trying to hear that exhaust. Interestingly enough, though, you hear almost the majority of the noise coming from the engine than you do behind the car. I bet this sounds pretty good from the outside, however. All right, it is time to run it back. Run number 2, launch control. Let's see the 0 to 60 of the M550i Dinan Stage 1. This time we've got traction all the way off. Oh my God. Oh, that's quick. Oh, ah! Oh, this car's insane. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, guys. 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds. That is awesome. Not quite M5 fast, but 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds for a car that you could buy for $80,000. That is a steal. Now, price as equipped with all of the Dinan upgrades as well as the options on this vehicle is 98 grand, but still for under 6 figures, cars are getting so expensive nowadays. With the M5, add options to that and you're way into the 100 grand range. Especially a lot of dealers are adding serious markup right now, as well as the E63. This is a very good alternative to either of those. Special thanks to Dinan for providing this car for the day, as well as Con Media for lining it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.
Gravity.